Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So there's lots to negotiate on this current video today, but the first topic of the development I'm going to give you an update on is in regards to Romelu Lukaku. Now I have been updating you about Romelu Lukaku on a regular basis. More additional information is updated about him. So we do know that Romelu Lukaku has been relentlessly linked with move to Inter Milan. Obviously for the entirety of this summer transfer window, obviously Lukaku has spoken about a move to Inter Milan, and course talks have been ongoing for several weeks. It has confirmed today that Inter Milan sporting director has travelled to London to hold negotiations with Manchester United to thrash out a deal for Romelu Lukaku. Now potentially it did confirm in the media yesterday, saying that Lukaku does want to leave Manchester United because he has felt undermined by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the last 6 months, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. So I do believe Romelu Lukaku feels he is unhappy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all that. So he is unhappy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously reports emerged out earlier on this week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer held talks with Romelu Lukaku, pleading him to stay for one more season, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say he wants Lukaku to remain at the football club for one more season and all that. But Lukaku has confirmed he does want to leave Manchester United and all that. So according to Fabrizio Romano, who's an Italian journalist and I think is quite reliable, just like Damasio and all that, he's basically said that Inter Milan will make a 2-year loan offer for Romelu Lukaku. I think this could mount up to around £63 million in total, this 2-year loan offer. I think there's also an obligation to buy included in the deal. So it does say Inter Milan will pay a loan fee of around £9 million. And a loan fee of around £9 million, then further instalments of £27 million in June of next year, so next summer, and then they'll pay another £27 million in June 2021. Probably more than likely Manchester United will reject this offer, so we won't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal and all that. So we basically said we want around 75 or 80 million pounds for him. So basically we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, because we did get him for £75 million. Obviously there were several add-ons included in the deal of £15 million, which did rise the deal up to around £90 million. So Lukaku is our second most expensive signing, and obviously Lukaku of course has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Obviously the fee seems to be the stumbling block at this present time of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan, because obviously Inter Milan are trying to offload a couple of their players, I think, to help them generate funds, to meet that £75 million or £80 million valuation. Of course, so they are trying to offload a couple of their players. But obviously reports emerged out over a month ago now, saying that allegedly Lukaku had agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. He also said he had agreed to deal with them worth up to around 180 grand a week. But obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. Like I said, talks have been ongoing for several weeks between Inter Milan and Manchester United. Obviously Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously reflecting back a couple of years ago, obviously when Antonio Conte was manager of Chelsea, he wanted him at that point, but obviously he ended up making the move to Manchester United. Obviously Lukaku was keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance, because he did recently describe him as one of the best managers in the world. So Lukaku believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance, so he's desperate of course on making the move to Inter Milan. Obviously Lukaku's agent Federico Pastorella has held quite a few talks over Inter Milan. He did actually give us an update the other week, and he did say Inter Milan are desperate to sign Romelu Lukaku. This is what he basically said, and he did classify the move as complicated. Obviously, reflecting on the huge asking price we have put on Romelu Lukaku and all that. But his agent said he desperately wants to make the move to Inter Milan. But obviously, we're unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us, because obviously, Inter Milan have tried offering us Mario Cardi as part of the deal for Lukaku. They've also tried offering us Ivan Perisic as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, Manchester United United, of course, haven't entertained any of these offers. So we've blatantly made it clear we are only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal. Obviously, Lukaku's been at Manchester United 2 years, as you all know. He scored 42 goals in 96 appearances in all competitions for the club. Lukaku was exceptional in his first season with Manchester United, but didn't really replicate that in his second season, because like I said, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Rashford ahead of Lukaku. So Lukaku now is surplus to requirements at Manchester United. I think Lukaku's goal scoring pedigree is very, very good. And I think his ratio on that's very, very good, and his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League and all that, because he has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League as Lukaku. But I've got strong reservations about him, and I think if we can sell him, it will be very beneficial, because I think it will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course it will help us over our transition. Maybe Manchester United fans have got a different viewpoint on it. Maybe some Manchester United fans want Romelu Lukaku to stay at the football club, even though he's initially lost his place in the team. Maybe some Manchester United fans still believe he's an imperative player, but you do know I've got a strong reservations about him. But I think we sell Pogba, we sell Lukaku, even though they are two imperative players, to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think we can generate around £200 million for their departures and all that. So that'll help us with our rebuilding process, and of course will help us with our transition. But if Lukaku is to leave the football club, I think we're definitely not going to have to get an adequate replacement in for him. Lukaku's still got a lot of years ahead of him. He's only 26. He's 26. He's basically still in his prime and all that. But yeah, I think Lukaku basically wants to leave, and he wants to rejuvenate his career. But we're definitely going to need to bring a replacement in for Lukaku. And I've heard some Manchester United fans mention Wissam Ben Yedder, and I give you my update about Wissam Ben Yedder, didn't I, the other week? And Wissam Ben Yedder, I don't think he's a bad player, Wissam Ben Yedder. I think he's technically a very good footballer. Currently playing for Sevilla this present time. He's been at Sevilla around 3 years. He's 28 years of age. There were stories going on about this the other week, saying that Manchester United were in for him. But I think Wissam Ben Yedder's move to Manchester United is dependent, of course, on what happens with Lukaku. I think we're only willing to go in for Wissam Ben Yedder if Lukaku leaves. But I don't believe there's a lot of credibility in anywhere. Wissam Ben Yedder, coming to Manchester United. He's got 2 years left on his contract with Sevilla. I think comparing Wissam Ben Yedder and Lukaku, I think Lukaku's got a better, his goal scoring pedigree is better, but I still think Wissam Ben Yedder can score goals, as he did demonstrate last season with Sevilla. He scored 31 goals and provided 11 assists in 54 games last season for Sevilla, and I think he's available for a reasonable figure. I think he did say Man United were willing to trigger his £36 million release clause, and quite a few people said we should be sensible of our recruitment this summer. So do you think Wissam Ben Yedder would be a good replacement for him? I've heard some people talking about Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Do you think he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? Obviously, Moussa Dembele, when he was younger, played for Fulham. Well, he actually began his senior career with Fulham. Obviously, he had 2 good years in Scotland with Celtic. Obviously, last season was his first season in France, and I think he did really, really well, did Moussa Dembele. I think he's only 22 years of age. Lyon did pay around £19 or £20 million for him last summer. With stories come out about Moussa Dembele, was it a month or so ago now? Might have just been under a month, saying that, we'd lodged a bidding for him of around, was it £40 million? But Moussa Dembele can score goals, as he did demonstrate last season. So do you think he would be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? I did say I'd like Mario Icardi in, but I think actually Mario Icardi is linked would move to Juventus, because obviously Inter Milan want to get rid of Mario Icardi. But we do know so far this summer, we have got 2 players on the board. Obviously, we've got Dan James. Well, we've got 2 players on the board. We spent around £65 million. Obviously, £65 million we spent on Dan James and Wan-Bissaka and all that. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on this, and I do believe he's going to want to win at least one or 2 more signings in before the window shuts. I think there's about 4 weeks remaining this current transfer window. But I do believe now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities, will be to recommend an experienced centre half. He'll want to also add reinforcements in that midfield. But I do believe we need to sell players to help us generate funds and, of course, rebuild the squad. But I think initially we have been given £200 million to spend, even though reports did reflect out, was it around 3 weeks ago, saying that we've only been given £100 million to spend based on our failure to qualify for the Champions League for next season. But there is still lots to address in the squad. We do need to revitalise the squad, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. Obviously he wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talent, and I do believe we are moving away from the policy of signing them well-established players, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to meet expectation levels going on into this season, to remain as Manchester United manager. I think our expectations going into this season probably will be to finish in the top four. We've definitely got to see vast improvements going into this season and then what we saw last season, because last season was disappointing. We finished sixth. We didn't win many silverware, and we haven't won any silverware for the past couple of seasons. But I think expectations going into this season will be to finish in the top four. I think our aspirations in the next couple of seasons will be at that top four, because I think we're at least a couple of years off, I think we're at least a couple of years off from getting back to where we currently want to be. So I think we're at least a couple of years off from being a competitive elite level football club. I don't think we're going to be challenging or winning the league at least in the next couple of years. I did say it's very essential that we do get our number one targets this summer. I know it's going to be hard for us to do that because obviously we're not in Champions League football for next season. Champions League football is always pivotal, of course, when you do want to get your number one target. It's also going to be hard for us to convince our imperative players to stay at the football club because, like I said, we're not in Champions League football. But these are still lots to address in the squad, like I currently said. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, obviously, we saw Antonio Valencia leave. Obviously, he left after a decade with Manchester. Well, he was a long-serving player with the club, but he left after serving a decade with Manchester United. Obviously, Ander Harari, left on a free transfer, so obviously the club are going to need a replacement for him. We saw Fellaini, leave back in the January transfer window, so obviously, we are going to need, a replacement for Harari and all that. So we do need to address that midfield, and that's one of the pivotal areas, of course, where Manchester United have got to bolster up. But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I know it's looking very imminent he's going to be leaving, but What? How? But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to bring two new additions in that current midfield and all that. Give you some news about Sergei Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio and all that. There has been talks about him going on, I think, since like the weekend and all that, saying that Manchester United have been in for him. I think, he's been linked to a move to Manchester United for the last year. According to Sky in Italy, I think, if I'm right, they reported, I think it was today, saying that reporting Manchester United have put around the £72 million bidding for Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. I think this could be too insufficient for Lazio, because I think the Lazio president's confirmed they want somewhere in the region of around £90 million for his services. I think Sergei Milinkovic-Savic did sign a new long-term new contract last October. I think he's been in Italy 4 years with Lazio. I think he's scored around 31 goals in 138 appearances for Lazio, and he's under contract with them until 2023. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is 6'3", I think, so he's very tall, so that's very beneficial. I think his tenacity is good. I think he's technically a very, very good footballer, and reportedly Manchester United have identified him as our number one target, to replace Paul Pogba. He's 24 years of age, so he's still very young. He's 24 years of age, still very, very young. I think primarily a central midfielder, so there has been talks about him, currently going on. I think it did say at the weekend that his current agent had travelled to the UK to hold negotiations with Manchester United. So I do believe Manchester United have been in negotiations with his agent over getting a possible deal and that concluded. I think quite a few other teams have inquired about his services, but he's also Serbian, and I think under Jose Mourinho, was also scouting the player, so he has been linked to a move to Manchester United for the last year. But his name is Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. I think I might have pronounced his name wrong. Maybe I haven't pronounced it wrong. I may be right, but his name's actually not quite hard to pronounce. But I've heard his name mentioned quite a few times, so he's one of the players that could replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United. So maybe £72 million is going to be too insufficient, because obviously, Lazio have said, they want around £90 million for his services. So looking at, it's going to cost us a substantial amount of money. Lazio are in no rush, to currently offload the player, and basically, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic could intend on spending at least another year with Lazio. But reports have been coming out about, since the weekend, it's been coming out of the mainstream media saying that Manchester United, of course, have been in there for the current player. But Sky in Italy have reported from Sky Sports, they've basically said Manchester United have launched a £72 million bidding for him, so we are now willing to step up our interest in the Serbian international. As I want to give you a bit of an update in regards to Bruno Fernandes and that from Sport in Lisbon, as they have been updating you on a regular basis, because we do know Bruno Fernandes has been relentlessly linked with move to Manchester United. Obviously, he's been linked with a move to Manchester United for the entirety of this summer transfer window. I think Bruno Fernandes has told his representatives that he wants to make the move to Old Trafford. Obviously, he wants to come to the Premier League to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. And I think Bruno Fernandes has rejected Tottenham. He's also rejected Liverpool because obviously, Tottenham and Liverpool have been in there for him. I think he did confirm yesterday that Bruno Fernandes did actually participate in that pre-season friendly, even though reports did say the day before yesterday that that Bruno Fernandes was going to be pulled out of that friendly by Sporting Lisbon, due to his potential move to Old Trafford. But recent reports were saying that Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United had been delayed. I don't know if it's something to do with what's going on with Paul Pogba, with the situation with Paul Pogba. I don't think what's happening with Paul Pogba's got all to do with what's going on with Bruno Fernandes, because I think Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is not dependent on what happens there with Paul Pogba. Regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still think Bruno Fernandes should make the move to Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes has held negotiations with his agent over the potential move to Manchester United and that this summer. He did confirm earlier on this week that Manchester City have also held talks with Sporting Lisbon. I don't really know why, because I didn't really read the full article, but he did confirm Manchester City have held talks with Sporting Lisbon earlier on this week and all that. But I do believe Manchester United have reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, no fee has yet come to an agreement, and the fee seems to be the stumbling block at the moment. But no fee has yet come to an agreement, but we've reached an agreement with them. I think the personal terms have allegedly been agreed. I think he allegedly said he's agreed a contract with around 100 grand a week, but no fees yet come to an agreement. I think Sporting Lisbon said they want around somewhere in the region of around £50 odd million. I think the Sporting Lisbon president has confirmed he has agreed to sell Bruno Fernandes, but I think the Sporting Lisbon president, Federico Varandas, has said, Sporting Lisbon would offload him for around £53 million. Manchester United only want to pay him around £32 million for his current services. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes signed a 5-year contract with Sporting Lisbon last summer, so he's under contract with them till 2023. His initial release clause is around £88 million, but obviously Manchester United are nowhere near determined, to go anywhere near that figure, of course. But he's been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons, and him coming to Manchester United, he's going to rejuvenate the team. He's going to bring his goals that we need in that midfield, and I think he'll do really, really well in the Premier League. Only 24, so still got a lot of years ahead of him. Also spent the majority of his career in Italy when he was younger, with the likes of Sampdoria and Udinese, and I think he also played for Novia. Reports did reflect out early on this week, I think, again, that Bruno Fernandes' agent was in the UK. His agent, of course, was in the UK last week to allegedly thrash out a deal, with Manchester United. So basically, Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his current client. But, Sporting Lisbon have been playing a bit, silly in this window so far, because obviously reflecting back, 6 or 7, they've been saying things that haven't actually come true, because reflecting back 6 or 7 weeks ago, it was looking likely Manchester City were going to get a deal concluded for him. At that point, Sporting Lisbon said he was going to be going to Manchester City, but obviously it confirmed Manchester City had withdrawn their interest. Obviously, Tottenham and Liverpool have also held talks with Bruno Fernandes' agent and all that. But yeah, very, very good play, and I think it's very essential, that we do get a deal over the line for this current play. Obviously, would see him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. As I updated you yesterday, and I have actually been updating you in the last 2 to 3 days about Mario Lemina and all that. It does say Manchester United are interested in the player. We've inquired about his services. It also says that Arsenal are interested in him. It also said that Leicester showed an interest in Mario Lemina and all that. Now, potentially Mario Lemina, I think, is informed that Ralph Hasenhüttl that he does currently want to leave Southampton, because he's currently playing for Southampton at the moment. Obviously, he's been at Southampton a couple of years. Obviously, he's had 2 years of experience under his belt in the Premier League. I do believe Mario Lemina, like I said, he's confirmed he wants to leave Southampton. Obviously, wasn't included in Southampton's squad, for their pre-season trip to Austria. And I think he has indicated out that he wants to stay in England, and he's indicated out that he wants to move to a big club, to rejuvenate his career, and of course take his footballing career to the next level. So I think Mario Lemina is happy to either make a move to Manchester United or Arsenal, because obviously it is them to win for him. Obviously, like I said, Leicester have inquired about his services. Obviously, Southampton, would be willing to offload him for around £18 million. So he's probably going to take a bid in the excess of £18 million. So Southampton are basically looking to recoup the money that they did pay for him from Juventus a couple of years ago. But he's 25 years of age. He's a Gabonese international and all that. Has been mainly out of favour with Southampton, especially last season. Reflecting on the amount of injuries he had currently sustained and all that. He has made 52 appearances in all competitions for Southampton. Obviously 46 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. Obviously he's still got 3 years left on his contract with Southampton as Mario Lemina, but Mario Lemina is primarily a central midfielder, so he's mainly box to box. His versatility is very, very good because he has been deployed as a winner. He's also played as a fullback, he's also played as a wing back, and I think he's also played as a centre half and all that. So his versatility is very, very good. I don't know if he would be the right type right type signing for Manchester United. I think he probably would be more of a Arsenal type signing if I'm going to be quite honest with him and all that. But yeah, 25 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And I think he has been given permission by Southampton, to talk to other clubs. So I do believe Manchester United have been in talks with Mario Lemina over the possible switch to Manchester United this summer. Obviously, he has played alongside Paul Pogba, during his couple of years. He did have in sharing with Juventus. He actually, began his career in France, did Mario Lemina. I think he began his career with Lorient. He had a couple of years there with Marcelo and all that. So he's got a pretty decent pedigree, but I don't know if he would be the right signing for Manchester United. Obviously, we are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. So do you think he would be the right signing for Manchester United? And with Arsenal, they've got a tight budget. They've only got around 40 or 45 million pounds to spend. So Arsenal themselves are going to have to sell a couple of their essential players, to help them generate funds and of course rebuild their squad. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks going on in the mainstream media, at least in the last 3 days now, about Mario Lemina. Sean Longstaff from Newcastle and all that, and I like Sean Longstaff a lot of what I've watched of him anywhere. Obviously, I've been reading recent reports about Sean Longstaff, and I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans, would like to see him come in. Obviously, Newcastle did indicate out, was it earlier on this week or was it last week, if I'm right? They basically indicated out saying that he's not for sale. This was coming from Sky Sports, and it did say, he's going to cost Manchester United at least around £50 million. So it did say Newcastle did put a hefty price tag on the player, saying, they won't consider any offers below £50 million for the player. I think maybe £30 million could be enough, to convince Newcastle to offload him, because I think he's initially valued from between 25 to 30 million. I think it did say Manchester United are preparing to put around a £30 million bidding for him. No official bid has been put in yet for Manchester United, but it did say we are preparing to put a £30 million bidding for him. Manchester United have held negotiations with Newcastle over coming to an agreement on a possible coming to an agreement on a possible deal for the player. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, has instructed Manchester United, of course, to get a transfer prioritised for Sean Longstaff. Now, Sean Longstaff has got a bit of experience under his belt. Obviously, made his senior debut for Newcastle in December of last year. So in the second half of the season, last season, he was pretty impressive. I think he did thrive under Rafa Benitez's guidance. And I think when Rafa Benitez was there, I think he was keen on staying with Newcastle. I think he was keen on continuing his developing process with Newcastle. But I think there may have been a change of scenery now. Obviously, that Rafa Benitez has currently resigned, because I think we have been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff following the departure of Rafa Benitez. He's got a contract with Newcastle to 2022. Obviously signed this in December of last year. Obviously I still believe he's recovering to full fitness, because obviously Sean Longstaff had sustained a knee ligament injury, was it back in March, and obviously didn't play the last couple of months of last season, due to this injury he had currently sustained. But he's also had loan spells with Kilmarnock and Blackpool, but he actually initially began his career with Newcastle, only 21 years of age, very, very young. I think he's primarily a central midfielder, so mainly box to box. Obviously British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer. So he has been on our agenda for quite some time, as Sean Longstaff. But like I said, we've got to get midfielders in, because obviously we've got some fringe players as well. We've got Fred. I don't know if Fred is a long-term solution for Manchester United, so I am very sceptical about Fred. Obviously, we got him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk for around £50 million. He's actually one of our most expensive signings, but don't know if he's a long-term solution. You've got Tominway. He's too inexperienced at the moment. We've got the likes of Andres Pereira. He's another one of our fringe players. And we've got Nemanja Matic, and he's not getting any younger. He's aging up. He's too slow, and I have now got strong reservations about him. So we have definitely, got to address that midfield, and we've definitely got to get a replacement for Ander Herrera. With Darmian and Rojo, I do believe they need to leave Manchester United, and I think with Darmian and Rojo, we can generate around 25 or 30 million pounds for their departures. I think it's very imperative that the club offload them, because Darmian and Rojo both endured difficult times at the club. Darmian hasn't really been given the chance, and with Rojo, he isn't first choice anywhere. But his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, with the amount of injuries Marcus Rojo has currently sustained. So I do believe the club needs need to get at least one central defender in. You know, we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. Some Manchester United fans have probably said, you know, we need two central defenders in. Some Manchester United fans have said we need two central defenders because obviously, you know, the likes of Smalling isn't good enough. Obviously, you know, Phil Jones and that isn't good enough. They have been two long-serving players at the club, but they're too inconsistent now. They're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. And it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, you know, giving them two new long-term contracts. But like I said, probably we do need two central defenders. But analysing it, you know, we haven't had a world-class central defender, you know, since we had the likes of Vidic, and of course since we had the likes of Rio Ferdinand and all that. But yeah, we've got to get at least one central defender. And I do believe now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. Now, we do know Harry Maguire has been relentlessly linked with a move to Manchester United, you know, since last summer. Because reflecting back last summer, our priority was to recommend a centre-half in. Obviously, there was a lot of central defenders on our agenda last summer. But obviously, one of the players Jose Mourinho did want last summer was Harry Maguire. But obviously, the board didn't back, you know, the signs that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend in last summer. And I think Leicester were demanding around £70 million for Harry Maguire last summer, and of course Manchester United were reluctant to pay it. But there has been a lot of talks about him, you know, currently going on. I think Mike Phelan, who's the assistant manager at the club, he's instructed Manchester United, you know, to get a deal over the line for Harry Maguire. I think Leicester are convinced themselves that, you know, they're convinced that Manchester United, you know, will pay what they're currently demanding. I think Leicester did say they want around £85 million up front, and I think Manchester United probably would be willing to pay this. Maybe we may try to convince Leicester to sell him for around £75 million, but Leicester have said, you know, they want around £85 million. Obviously, it is going to take a world record fee for the defender to obviously, you know, convince Leicester to offload him. But we do know it's been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. But now, obviously, Manchester City have withdrawn their interest because City are not willing to pay what Leicester are currently demanding. Even though, reflecting back a couple of weeks ago, you know, it did say Manchester City, well, it did say City were in pole position to sign him. It said City were willing to pay him around £280,000 a week and all that. And City were going to get him for a world record fee of £80 million. But obviously now City have withdrawn their interest because obviously City were seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. I do believe Harry Maguire's preference was actually a move to Manchester City, but now of course Manchester City have withdrawn their interest. Talks have been ongoing for several weeks, you know, between Manchester United and Leicester. Also Manchester City have held talks with Leicester. Obviously Sky Sports did report out the other week that we put a £70 million bid in for him. Obviously this £70 million bid had been turned down. I think it also said we'd offered Phil Jones as part of the deal. We've offered £70 million plus Phil Jones as part of the deal, but Leicester won't entertain this offer because Leicester only want to go along with a straight cash deal and all that. But I like Harry Maguire a lot. You know, he holds his line well. His defensive abilities are really, really good. He's also very, very good in the air. I don't think he's very fast, but I don't think that's a current issue. Proven in the Premier League, you know, still 26 years of age, got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. And we've got to get a central defender in because analysing it last season, we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season in 38 Premier League games. Obviously, that's our highest total in 40 years, so that just proves the issues that we've got defensively. But I do believe Harry Maguire would complement Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. I think he's regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the Premier League. I wouldn't put him in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, but I still think he's a very good centre-half. I think Harry Maguire coming to Manchester United is obviously going to rejuvenate his career. Obviously, he's coming to a much bigger club and all that. And he has been at Leicester a couple of seasons as Harry Maguire. I think Leicester signed him from Hull City for £17 million back in 2017. He only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's in the contract with them until 2023. He did serve a couple of years with Hull, like I did say. He played under Mike Phelan's guidance. Mike Phelan only had a short tenure, with Hull City. I think he also had a long spell with Wigan, did Maguire. I think he actually began his career with Sheffield United as a youngster and all that. But only 26 years of age, and I do believe if he came to Manchester United, you know, he would improve us defensively and all that. But yeah, I think Leicester do want in the region of around £85 million. So looking at it, ultimately, you know, Harry Maguire, you know, could be our third signing this summer. So if we do get Harry Maguire, say for around £85 million, that'll take I'd say our spending to around what £160 million so far this summer. But yeah, Harry Maguire, very very good player, and I do want him at Manchester United. But he reported out last week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had asked the British players in our squad. So he'd asked Rashford, he'd asked Lingard, he'd asked Ashley Young, he'd asked Jones, he'd asked Smalling. He asked all of them of their thoughts on Harry Maguire, and I think Solskjaer did get positive remarks about the players. So I think we are now set to step up our interest. So I think his move to Manchester United now is looking very very likely. He won't go to Man City because obviously Man City have withdrawn their interest of course in the current player. But I do like Harry Maguire a lot. But like I said, he's been relentlessly linked to move to Manchester United. But looking at ultimately, Leicester don't want to sell him. This is why they demand an extortionate amount. This is why they have priced him out of the transfer market. But I do believe Manchester United probably will pay what Leicester of course are demanding. I think we've been willing to offer a couple of our players in a bid to sign Harry Maguire. I think we've been willing to offer Rojo. I think there was talks about Eric Bailly and all that. But reports came out a while back saying that Ed Woodward was keen on recommending Harry Maguire in. So looking at ultimately, he could be our third signing this summer. There's also been other central defenders on our agenda. I think Matty Stillick's probably out of the equation now because I think he's going to be going to Juventus. Obviously, Koulibaly, I'd say he's now totally out of the equation because obviously I think he's staying with Napoli because I think Napoli are reluctant to offload him. But yeah, there's been so many centre-halves. There still talks about Issa Diop going on from West Ham. Obviously, Manchester United have been in for Issa Diop at least in the last couple of weeks. I think it did say he was keen on making a move to Manchester United. And looking at it from a financial point of view, Issa Diop would be a cheaper solution than Harry Maguire, I should presume. But I still think it said West Ham do want in excess of around £60 million if they're willing to offload him. Reports allegedly said last month that Manchester United had submitted, we'd put a player plus cash offer in for him. So it said we'd offered £45 million plus we'd offered Phil Jones as part of the deal. But obviously, West Ham had instantly turned this down. So looking at ultimately, West Ham don't want to sell Issa Diop. He's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. It was his debut season in the Premier League last season with West Ham, and I think he played around 38 games for West Ham in all competitions last season. He's 22. He's very tall as well, which is very very beneficial. Holds his line really really well. So we've got 4 years left on his contract with West Ham. West Ham did get him from Toulouse last summer for around £22 million. So I do believe he's also being on Manchester United's agenda. But yeah, there's been so many centre halves on our current agenda. The good thing is, like I said, obviously we give players new contracts last week. Obviously we give Marcus Rashford a new 4-year deal last week with an option to extend it by a further year. Also we give Alex Tuanzebe and Andres Pereira new deals, I think last week, or was it earlier on this week. Obviously David De Gea, of course, is on the verge of signing a new contract, which is very very good news. Obviously a couple of weeks ago it did confirm that Juan Mata had signed a new contract, which is also very very good news. But the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Lukaku. Also give you the latest news about Sergei, Milinkovic-Savic and all that. So with the Lukaku situation, reportedly Inter Milan's sporting director has travelled to London to hold negotiations with Manchester United to thrash out a deal for Romelu Lukaku. Fabrizio Romano, who's an Italian journalist, he's reportedly said that talks are ongoing. He's also said that Inter Milan are willing to offer a 2-year loan. What amounts up to around £63 million in total. It includes an obligation to buy. So he says Inter Milan will pay a £9 million loan fee with further instalments of £27 million in June 2020 and then another £27 million in June 2021. But more than likely Manchester United will not entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal. But like I said yesterday, it got confirmed Lukaku wants to leave the football club. Solskjaer's held talks with him earlier on this week, pleading to stay for one more season because Solskjaer did say he wants Lukaku to stay at the club for one more season. But Lukaku, I think, is being frustrated with how he's being treated by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the last 6 months. So probably this is the main factor reason why he wants to leave. And plus, Marcus Rashford is obviously he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference ahead of Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, that's mainly everything to update today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.